We have Ed Smith from the Bleav in Cardinals joining us here on Ref the District.
Welcome, Ed Smith from the Bleav in Cardinals. We appreciate you coming by here on Ref the District. What's up, brother?
Hey, good to be on with you, gentlemen. And, hopefully you guys don't beat on us too bad this week. You guys look really good the other night.
Did you get a chance to watch the entire Monday night game and that virtuoso performance by Jaden Daniels?
I did, and it was, I'll tell you what, as far as the rookie quarterbacks go, Jaden looks to be at the top of the list in terms of poise and what his future might look like. I know Caleb, he's making all the noise over in Chicago in terms of, that's supposed to be their dynasty quarterback, but I'll be doggone if Jaden doesn't look the part a little better right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So let's get into this a little bit, Ed. First of all, we appreciate you coming by and talk to us about the Cardinals. We know you got to get out of here fairly quickly. Your son's got a football game. Surprise, shocker, right? You're a big football family. We all know that. And so we want to talk a little bit about this game upcoming in Arizona on Sunday. It's 4:05 our time. I guess that's what, 1 o'clock, 1:05 your time there in Arizona. Give us a little overview of the Cardinals and what you have seen so far in these first 3 weeks.
Well, first off, always I appreciate you guys having me on. Our Cardinals are still almost like a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure them out. And I think, because you guys got a chance to see a little more during your preseason with a rookie quarterback, we went the exact opposite here. Kyler never stepped on the field on the preseason, even though he had Marvin Harrison Jr., fresh out of college, and we have a team that could have used the work. Really didn't get anything done during the preseason. So I talk to Jay, my radio partner, all the time about the first month for us now has become more like preseason. We're just getting everybody a chance to see everybody.
Yeah.
They're getting to know each other on the field. We obviously, first week we go up to Buffalo, right out the box. Buffalo was stunned because they didn't know what to expect from the Cardinals. They ended up getting control of that game, winning it. The next week, we had the Rams in here like a mass unit. We jump on top of them early, beat the mess out of them, and then all of a sudden, according to everybody here in town, we're going to the Super Bowl because we beat the Rams, 40-something or whatever.
Right.
And then finally, I'm still being asked the question, what are the Cardinals? I'm still trying to figure out their identity myself. We had a team last week we played against in the Lions. We know their identity. They got away from it a little bit the week before playing against Tampa at their house and started all of a sudden they wanted golf throwing the ball all over the place. Nah, they are a downhill running team, smash you in the mouth, golf play action, throw in the mid, maybe 25 times a game. They came in with their formula and pretty much just put it on us. 43 rushes, 182 yards, then, the offensively, we never really got started. Once again, we start running the ball a little bit, fade away from that. And then we got Kyler, in pistol most of the game.
Yeah.
Not defining our running game. Then our passing game becomes sideline to sideline. So I'm still trying to figure it out. If we're going to use this same formula, it's going to be a long, long season. We'll see what they do when they get Kyler under center a little more. Maybe throw the ball vertically down the field to Marvin Harrison. But, with the second-year crew in here, meaning our coaching staff, they're still trying to figure out what the Cardinals are, just like I am and most fans.
So outside of Marvin Harrison, who else should the Washington Commanders fear on offense? Because our defense is pretty shaky. We seem to let anybody with the name of whatever their name is do whatever they want with us on defense. Somehow we're 2-1. So outside of the obvious Marvin Harrison, who else is an offensive threat for you guys? And Kyler Murray and his legs, obviously.
Yeah, Kyler is the biggest. If you don't stop him, he can make things magically happen out there. For me, our biggest offensive weapon that we tend to not use is James Conner. And, I know it revolves around Kyler because he's got a great arm, and then you got the flashy wide receiver out there. In my opinion, this is a team that should be leaning on the run as hard as anybody, because it would then take the pressure off of Kyler having to play the Superman role. We don't, we tend to, as soon as we figure out this run didn't work and that one didn't work, we just got to go to throwing the ball. I saw something earlier today that even shocked me. In the fourth quarter of the game against Detroit, in a game we were only down 23-10 at the time. That was a halftime score. Our defense held them, or I should say 20-10, held them scoreless in the second half. We only managed 3 points in the second half ourselves, but we, in 18 plays in the fourth quarter, we did not run the ball once. And that to me just is shocking. When I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? But that's what we do here. We abandon the run with, James Conner should be toting that rock minimum 20 to 25 times downhill with Kyler under center, and then you would know his name and fear him a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
Because we don't do that. Kyler is the first name you think of. A rookie, Marvin Harrison, is the second. And we don't have the horses outside necessarily. And Jay will tell you, we don't have the horses outside where we think we want to drop back and throw the ball, 20 and 30 times in a quarter and not lean on the run at all. But that's what we tend to do. And that's why, we're sitting here scratching our heads trying to figure out what this new staff is thinking, But like I said, I'm not. They're obviously not listening to us tell them, because they keep doing the same thing over and over.
Ed don't know how to ride a horse.
Uh-oh. If you hear that voice, if you're listening on audio now, that's Javon Adams has joined us here, Ed's partner with the Bleav in Cardinals show. And of course, if you're watching here on YouTube or Facebook, you see him, and make sure you hit a like or subscribe to us, and also to the Bleav in Cardinals show as well. Thanks for jumping on with us as well, Javon. Let me ask you this question here, and we've had a lot of talk, obviously, before you guys came on, because this is our first time to do our show since the Monday Night Football game. But a lot of people are comparing Jayden Daniels to Lamar Jackson, to Josh Allen, and to Kyler Murray. So let me ask you, who do you think right now, today, who is more talented? Is Kyler Murray or is Jayden Daniels a more talented quarterback overall?
Wow. Let me take that one, Ed. I would say Kyler, but there's a caveat, because again, it's a small sample size with Jayden Daniels, but I say this to Ed, since I'm from Southern California and I lived a few years in the Inland Empire, San Bernardino. I know that area. So, but the point is that it's interesting how when you have the maybe more of the weapons that maybe a Jayden Daniels has, because Kyler and Jayden, they share the same offensive coordinator, for lack of a better term. Sure. And it's interesting to see maybe what you learn after when you have your first go round, and maybe you can try to improve upon that. But I think, and Ed has mentioned this, is that Kyler he's a little thicker than Jayden Daniels is, and so you worry, and then Lamar is more muscular than Jayden Daniels is, and so that there's the concern there with how he might try to really use his legs in such a way that will try to benefit the team, and how well will he be able to hold up once he takes that big hit. And we talked about that on one of the podcasts that we do today, and Ed mentioned that's a concern, because that hit will come, and how will that happen? But I would say that Kyler is a little bit better, but I Bleav Jayden is taller than Kyler, and Ed has said over the last few weeks, the Arizona Cardinals got to realize they got a short quarterback. And try to make sure they play call accordingly.
So your defense, I want to talk about now. I feel like the only person I know on your defense is Budda Baker. One, is he past his prime? Is he still somebody that we should game plan for on the defensive side? And two, outside of him, I see you guys lost a defensive lineman due to a knee injury. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, I think. How is the defense in Arizona? Are there studs? Are they duds? Or is it still a work in progress?
Yeah, I'm gonna make Ed shut up real quick. I'm gonna jump on this one, my brother.
Go ahead, take it.
So the thing with Buda Baker, I think he's not past his prime. I think he can still be a very one of the best players on a defensive unit, as he's proven to be when the Cardinals, even under Cliff Kingsbury, when they were going to the playoffs, right? But there are a lot of no names on this defense, and so there is no pass rusher. And even the gentleman that went out today on the IR, it would be out with Bleav it was a quadricep. I mean with a triceps, something like that. So he hadn't really impacted the game in that way anyway. But we've had some injuries on the defensive where pass rushers are concerned, and that we couldn't afford to lose those players to begin with. And so when you talk about Darius Robinson, et cetera, but and I'll let Ed he talks about, maybe what the philosophy is in terms of what where the defense is. But I think they're not bad. I think the culture is good, and they're going, maybe this is where we're at in terms of as an organization, but they're never going to quit. They're going to keep trying. And I'll let Ed give his thoughts on what the philosophy of the defense is.
Well, even we lost Justin Jones to that bicep, who's out. And I was going to say, in order, even Jay and I have to go through our sheet just to see who some of these guys are, where they went to school. We don't have what you would call like drop dead talent on our roster. On either side of the ball, you take Kyler out of this, Marvin Harrison, who we just drafted, and James Conner, and then you say Buda Baker, then you and maybe Zaven Collins. Those are 5 names that we know. The rest of them, it's like, where's the program? We got to figure out who these guys even are.
That's
and with saying that, we're not a team that's going to line up and match up against most teams in this league, meaning we don't have enough talent on our roster to say, man to man, we're going to go out here and beat you. We have to beat you with scheme and just straight up aggressiveness. If we don't do everything right, if we don't do everything we're supposed to do as a team, most instances we're not going to really beat you. So last week against Detroit, they ran the ball at will against us 43 times. They realized what they had to do to win the game. Didn't even pad. The score was only a 10-point game, and they felt like they had control of it from start to finish. And that's what we're going to kind of have to deal with from time to time during this season. And in saying that with our defense, it's seriously, I hate to use the term because it's overused a lot of times, bend, don't break. If we break at all in any positions or have any type of mishaps, we can't overcome that type of thing. So as far as you and looking out for us defensively, if you hear Buda Baker's name too many times, that doesn't mean he's having an outstanding game. That means you guys are getting to our secondary and forcing him to make a lot of plays. So, that's just the kind of where we're at right now. And as Jay said, though, this is a team that's heading in the right direction in terms of getting after it. We just don't have a lot to get after it with.
And does Jonathan Gannon call plays?
No.
Defensively, he doesn't call the defensive play. Okay,
but I'm gonna say this, and I think Ed didn't Gardeck. He's when I'm smiling when I say this, but he's almost like that Duke guy that slaps the floor that would slap the floor in college basketball.
So
but he has a high motor. He has a high motor, and he never stops. But he had an interception last week, and then the week before he had 3 sacks. So he's one of those guys. But then I also think when you look at what Jalen Thompson, I mean, he does some things there, but it is definitely a concern. And I think what I've been hearing so far this week is that expecting kind of almost a shootout because of the deficiencies of on the defensive side of the ball, maybe for both teams.
I think didn't Gardeck last year, maybe you guys can remind me, maybe Trev remembers in that game, I think it was week 2 last year, maybe it was week 1, right? Didn't he have like a sack fumble touchdown against Washington?
Gardeck is sneaky. I would love to have him on my team. I'm a Raiders fan, but on the Cardinals, I like having Gardeck there. But you would like to have somebody. You would love to have Gardeck as that depth player as opposed to the one that's starting all these games. But yeah, he's you got to respect. You got to respect Gardeck.
All right, my turn again. Cool. So what can we expect on Sunday? Like you said, who's calling defensive plays? Is it a new guy? I really don't know too much about Arizona, so I'm still trying to learn him. Is it a new coordinator? I know Gannon's the head coach there, and so yeah, who's calling plays on defensive and offensive side of the ball?
Well, we got Petzing on the offensive side. Coordinator. He came from wasn't that the Colts, Jay? No, Philly.
Yeah, he came from but Nick Rallis is the defensive coordinator. Here's the game against the Rams. I think maybe that's the outlier game, and hopefully that's not the case when it comes to how the season will play out. But I rely on my partner here is that the Cardinals still don't have an identity, because you would have thought that with the way in which they beat the Rams, even though they were coming in wounded, but the wins coming in the NFL, you don't apologize for beating somebody when they come in a little bit gimpy, right? But the thing is that you would have thought that the after such a solid offensive game that they would have come in and really been able to try to build upon that, right? But I think if nothing else went from the defensive side of things, that the Cardinals, we know that they can shut teams out especially in the second half of that Lions game. But what you worry about, and this is one of the things, and I was talking to my oldest son who's a diehard Cardinals fan today. He called me and we were talking about the game. Is that what I worry about is the defense being able to get off the field when it matters. So there were so many of those drives in the second half of the game, while there were no points given up, the drives were able to be extended just enough to be able to run down the clock. And so if a team has a lead, so if you guys get the lead, I'm concerned about them being able to stop, to get off the field if it's a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 12, et cetera, to be able to try to give the ball back to the offense, and hopefully the offense can kind of seal the deal.
Go ahead, Ed. No, do your thing.
I was going to say real quick, this game has the feeling of whoever has the ball last scores and wins.
Yeah.
I don't see a whole lot of defense stoppage out of there. Whoever, this game could be real high scoring. Whoever has it last with enough time on the clock, boom, that's going to win the game.
So take the over is what you're saying. Whatever it is, take the over.
Yes,
but
indeed.
Ed, you were a tight end. Your brother's a tight end. Your nephew is a tight end. Who the heck plays tight end for the Arizona Cardinals right now?
We got Trey McBride. Who last year, he broke out last year when Ertz went down, because he was drafted and he was supposed to be kind of learning from Ertz. Ertz gets hurt early. Try saying that 3 times fast, and then he took over, and Kyler, by the time he got back in lineup, Trey had established himself, and he was a tool for Kyler. Thus, so far this year, they're still trying to figure it out, partly because they went out and got Kyler, the shiny new toy, and Marvin Harrison Jr., and we saw the vitriol he caught from not going to him in the first game. Only 3 targets in Buffalo, right? So what they do, they came out in the Rams game, and I don't care if Kyler had to throw it left-handed, he was going to get Marvin the ball. And the only people in the entire building that must not have got that memo that they were going to throw Marvin the ball was the Rams. So they decided not to. Yeah. So last week it was kind of an average game, but between Marvin Harrison and Trey, there's enough targets, and we hope that Trey gets off this week, because he's actually in the concussion protocol right now. So we'll get more word on him as the week goes by. But he could be a very valuable tool in the middle of that field. And I don't know if you guys have as much trouble with covering tight ends as we do. They can be a nightmare, that's for sure.
Trey is good.
Yeah.
He's good though.
All right, we'll give you Trey.
Yeah, you can have Trey. So you think, since Kyler missed all preseason action, has that affected or showed in these first 3 games, or you think he's not skipped a beat, or you think he's still kind of trying to get back to what he once was before the injuries and everything, and what got him drafted so high?
I think they're all. I mean, he's with new, Marvin Harrison coming here. They took a lateral step in terms of missing an opportunity to work not just in the offseason, but in the preseason to get some of the timing and stuff like that down. They are definitely behind the 8 ball a little bit because they're still trying to figure everything out. Timing, where do you like the ball best? What are your best routes? And real quick, I'll tell you, there's nothing like for a receiver like Marvin Harrison coming into the league, you can have all the joint practices and stuff that you want. You need game time, even preseason game time, to figure out the speed of this game at this level. And that's what Marvin's trying to figure out along with Kyler at the same time. So they definitely didn't take advantage. I hope moving forward, they take preseason a little more, serious, but the trend is all teams deem it unnecessary, and that just might be the track that we're on moving forward.
All right, let me get you guys out of here on this last question. Ed, I know you got to get to your son's game. Is he a tight end, by the way?
He's playing tight end, and he's also playing safety.
Of course he's a tight end, right? But let's get kind of down to the nitty gritty, and we've evaluated a little bit of this game and talked about it. But let me start with you, Ed, and then we'll go to Javon. But let me ask you, what do you think is the score of the game, and how does it play out?
Oh, that's a good one. I've been battling, going back and forth with this one.
Yeah.
I want to go Cardinals at home, winning this game, but it's going to be a high shooter. This is like a 34-32 game.
All
and
right.
I could be off, but I'm thinking the Cardinals figure out a way to win this one in a shootout. I don't think anybody's stopping anybody. There'll be a lot of field goals and a lot of touchdowns scored on Sunday.
And before you go, Javon, just a little reminder that Washington has scored on 14 consecutive possessions that have not been a kneel down.
Yes.
And our punter has not punted in 2 consecutive games. He has not punted since the 4th quarter of week 1.
Stealing money.
Do you want to change before we go to Javon? Do you want to change your pick there, Ed?
I'm going to stay with it just because I don't even know why, because I'm just going to stay with it.
All right. Javon, what do you got?
I'll go 35-31. And here's the thing. So I was watching the game, the Commanders game. And so while, again, the Commanders are off to a great start, we know that Jaden Daniels is doing his thing, but it just makes me so mad when I see that horizontal game from Cliff Kingsbury. And I wonder if Cliff, when he comes back into that stadium where he was the coach for so many years, is that he's going to say, watch how I'm a wide receiver screen the heck out of this. I'm going to do the horizontal game like they never thought they going to see. But 35-31, I think that the Cardinals defense will do just enough to keep them in the game. If my confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10, it'll probably be about a 7, 6.5, 7. Okay. But I think the Cardinals will come out on top.
All right. We appreciate you guys stopping by here on Ref the District. It's Javon Adams and Ed Smith, EZ from the Bleav in Cardinals podcast. You can check them out anywhere you get your podcasts. Thanks, guys, for coming on. We did it last year. We did it this year. Haven't seen the schedule for next year. Maybe we play the Cardinals again. We'll do it again next year.
Hey, road trip. One of these days, one of us is going to have to go to the other city. So let's get that down.
All right. Cool. All right. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys.